Hello and welcome to Wall of Reds. I'm so sorry, I'm having to do this on my phone, so I don't know how it looks, I don't know how it sounds. I do apologise, but I turned on my laptop literally 20 minutes ago and it decided to go through an update. But we are here. We're slightly late, but we are here, and we are here with smiles on our faces because Manchester United today pulled it out the bag at Old Trafford. 6, bring it, blimmin' 2. I thought for one moment it might be like an Arsenal game again and it was going to end up 8-2 at one point, but it didn't. It stayed at 6-2. It could have been a cricket score, but it is what it is. And it's left us all asking one question, I think, after that game. Are we in a title race? Kai, are we in a title race?
No, not yet. Not yet. I'll tell you why. Because I think we need a bit of daylight between at least between fifth spot and where we are at the moment. But I had a look at the table and we seem like anything can still happen. So if we lose the next game, another team wins the next game, then that automatically means that we probably are now sixth again. If we draw another game, another team wins another game, then we're probably seventh or eighth. And then the narrative changes again to, you were in a title race, now you're not. So I think the team that we really can be sure 100% is in a title race is Liverpool, as much as we hate saying that, because we know that they're different, they're a different machine, and all we have to do is literally do what we did like today. Go into the match with arrogance, say whatever you're gonna do, it's fine, but we're gonna get our chances, we're gonna counter attack you guys, and we're just gonna put you under pressure. And I think Mark was talking before we went live on air about starting quickly. I think that's what we need to do if we want to mount a serious title challenge. So I think we still have a way to go, but I don't think we're in one yet because there's no daylight. I think that's what I think about that.
Can't hear you, Ben.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, mate. Mark, I'm coming over to you. What do you think? Are we in a title race?
Not yet. We have got 3 difficult games coming up, and I think that they probably will be our defining games. It's always a difficult time over Christmas, and you can start to see, how the Premier League's going to be shaping up. I think it's way too premature. And let's see how the next few games go. We've got Leicester, Wolves, and Villa, which are not going to be easy, especially Leicester. Wolves seem to be picking up a bit of pace. So we'll see and reevaluate after Christmas. We're doing very well. I think it's a complete contrast to how we were set up a number of weeks ago and how everybody was sort of getting a bit concerned, or especially the media. As Kai said, and I was going to pick you up on this actually, Ben, because you and Barry took the piss out of me the other day about starting quickly.
Why taking the piss? I was respecting your opinion, and then you was the one who kept coming on and saying we need to start fast. We need to start fast. So I'm just making sure everyone knows the core source on this channel for that is you, mate.
I'm joshing with you, but anyway. That's exactly what we did today. We started very quickly. We started on the front foot, which consequently put them on the back foot, and we were very, very clinical. So are we in the top race? No, not yet. We'll see after Christmas.
Interesting. Karthik, of course, straight in. Title charge. Yes. Jamie, what do you think? Are we in a title race here, buddy?
Not for me, to be honest. I don't think we're a title challenging team at the moment. Unfortunately, it's not just me to say it, but just going on what Mark was saying, I think we do have some difficult fixtures coming up, and it's great to have a good platform to build on going into some tough run of games. We've got some form. We were definitely not getting the credit that we deserve with regards to the turnaround that we've had. Everyone seems to sort of talk negative with our club instead of what we're doing positively at the moment. So we've got a good foundation there to build on, and hopefully we can sort of get a little bit more consistency now. It was a really good performance today. That's something. And it was nice to see a little bit of ruthlessness from United today. Absolutely clinical, and it really mattered. Could have been a lot more as well, realistically. Could have scored 10 goals today, and that's not even an exaggeration either. So it was nice to see that ice finishing from certain players, big performances. But I think we're a little bit off of a title challenge at the moment. I think we've definitely got a great foundation with the squad of players that we're assembling at the moment. As I say, there isn't enough mentioned about that, but certain recruitment's been really good, and if we can maybe add a couple of players to that in January and really go hard in the summer, I think with a couple of good quality additions to the team and very specific players that can play specific roles that we don't have in the team. We need to bring in players that have got attributes that we don't already have in the squad. And if we can get that right, particularly on the right side and at centre-back for me, if we can get that right, I definitely think we're about in the next year or so, but I don't think at the moment, realistically, if we're being honest, we're a title winning team. Title race, yeah, we probably are realistically at the moment, but I do think we're going to be inconsistent, and I do think we're going to drop points, unfortunately, because that's where we are at the moment. Consistency with United doesn't seem to happen at the moment, but hopefully I'm wrong, and we can go for it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify my words, are we in a title race? Not are we going to win the league? I mean, after a win, as optimistic as I want to be, and as much as I want to be like Karthik and say we're going to win the Champions League, we're going to win the league, I'm also quite realistic. But also, in terms of to drive the discussion, I think if you're in a title race, you're not just you're battling to win the league against others. I think it's a realistic terminology in terms to back up that phrase. So, Natalie, for you, are we in a title chase? Are we in a title challenge here?
Yeah, well, the way you've described it, Ben, I think we are. I think you can't be sitting third with a game in hand and not say you're not in a title race or in a title charge. I don't think we're going to win the league, but I think we're going to mix it up. We're going to be near the top. I think we finished third last year. So obviously, progression is finishing third again or, getting closer to that top team. So why not? Let's go for it. I mean, I think we need to focus on ourselves rather than looking at each other. And like I said, we've got 3 really important games. I mean, if we get 7 or 8, 7 points from those 3 games, there's even more confidence coming out of it. So let's see. I'll probably say closer towards the end, after those 3 games. But for me, we can do what we set our minds to, and our mind should be, getting 9 points and pushing on.
And look at that seamlessly on the laptop now, although I don't know if I am lagging or not. So hopefully this is all coming to you live and clear.
Wonderful now, Ben. Yeah.
Look at that, mate. I'll try my best. Spot on, Nat. And Oliver goes, well done, Nat. He loves hearing the optimism. Hello to Sean. Can't join us live, but he's got in the live chat. Numerically, we are in it. Of course, we are 21 inbound. Love that. Red Devil Weekly hitting on the transfer points. If Upamecano comes in and we keep consistency, we're in with a shout. But I agree with the current person talking, as I don't think we will get that. And I think that was you, Jamie, at the time when you were talking about transfers. Is there some more here? Ian says the only way we can be able to mount a good title challenge is by winning 10 to 15 in a row. At the moment, we can't maintain that. We have a great squad with fantastic players, but we definitely need continuity. Can someone have a look for me? How many games have we won? Oh, not games. How many games have we won? Not that. How many games have we not dropped points in since that Spurs game? I think it's every game, isn't it? Or is it? No, one. Arsenal we lost. And that was it. Pretty sure. Guys, if you're not over here already, come over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/all4united. Hit a like on this video. Help us smash 20 likes. Karthik done it on both the match reaction shows today, so we want to do it between us as well. And make sure you share the video as well. Come and get involved in the discussion. Are we in a title race? John, great to see you, mate. Do you think we are? Are we in with a title challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're definitely knee deep in a title race. After every game, Rob always texts me and he's criticising United or praising United. But straight after the game today, he texted me and said, "United devastating, title race is on," and I agree with him.
Yes, I love that. Title race is on.
And apparently, everybody in the 606 studio has said after that today, United were frightening today. And he said, all you got to do is get that home form sorted, and that performance today will put a frighteners on quite a few teams because they've come to Old Trafford with fear factor gone, and that today will make a few more teams sit up, I think.
Yes, no, 110%.
Yeah.
John, spot on the money. And I think it's also quite evident, like you're saying there, Robbo texted you and said that, and I know that they were preaching it on 5 Live at the time. I listened to some stuff that was being said on TalkSport, heard some stuff being said as well on Sky Sports. And finally, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, didn't I, lads? Kai, you're on regularly. How come, every other team's being spoken about in the title race apart from Manchester United? Why is it every other team is? And I think at the moment, with the way of looking at this league, in respect to everyone else in the Premier League, you can probably go down to 10th place, and I think everyone's in with a shout this season because of how close it is. But I think if you're looking at recent form and you're looking at a team to turn it on, look, I look at statistics and form charts with a little bit of perspective all the time. I think if you go back 5 games and say, what team's on the best run at the moment? Yeah, maybe Man United will top it. You go back 15, I bet we're not in the top 3 potentially, but who knows? I think if you go back to the start of the year, we are, but it just goes to show that no matter which way you want to look at it, we are now 3rd. We've got a game in hand. We're 5 points behind Liverpool. Now, for me, everyone always says, let's see where you're at in and around Christmas. Guys, this is where we are, and we are in a title challenge. We can dare to dream 21 in 2021. It's going to happen. It could happen. Maybe it will happen. And we could be the team of the year in the Sports Personality Awards next year, like Liverpool have just gone and done by the looks of things. And maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will wear white trainers with a suit. Who knows? But it's beautiful because, Kai, we're happy. Of course we are. And in these moments, of course, we can maybe be a little bit deluded. We're not fans if we aren't, because that was a fantastic win today, wasn't it, Kai? Sum it up in a couple of minutes. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow. Look, I think the one thing which I can actually say to encapsulate everything is near the end of the game, the commentators talking to each other, and one of them says, with his tail between his legs, "Are Manchester United really as bad as they were made out to be?" And the other commentator says with a very sad voice, "No, they're actually not that bad." And then that's when I was like, yeah, this football game was everything coming together in terms of, how we attacked. And I mean, Leeds, obviously, they just played into all of our strengths, completely all of our strengths. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. I was impressed by Martial, everything that he did on the ball, as well as off the ball as well. He clearly was looking like he's getting more confidence as well. And he was, I think, one of the leaders in terms of beating the 1v1 system which Leeds has. I think Martial probably he was floating into such spaces, leaving his man for complete dead. And even when he got the ball, he was turning his man. So I think that movement, as well as Bruno's movement, really killed Leeds, because Calvin Phillips was, he was hooked at half time because he couldn't do it. He was chasing Bruno all over the pitch. Bruno was taking him somewhere else, creating a lot of space. And movement between, like I said, Martial, James, Rashford was also incredibly good. And tactically, having Fred and James there was fantastic. Fred was Kante-like today as well. He allowed absolutely no space for that Leeds midfield. The other thing which I did notice was Rashford as well. I think he's now beginning to become the big man. He's beginning to be the arrogant striker that does whatever he likes on the pitch. Because today what I saw was frightening, actually, because I've been watching his evolution, and I was actually talking to my cousin always about how he's going through the Cristiano Ronaldo stages as he's going through, and now he's at the stage where his body is completely filled up almost, and he actually just decides to dribble. And now, instead of dribbling with his head down, he's watching the movement of the opposition that he's dribbling, and he's sending them to the floor. He's even added the little bit of pause, So before he does his next movement, he was leaving so many people on the floor today. So I think, for me, that was one of my biggest joys, watching Rashford go through this massive evolution, and I call it the CR7 mini evolution. Because he's becoming good, very, very good at all the things which make you a very good striker, or a very good forward, a complete forward, to say that. So yeah, those are just some of the takes which I had from the game. But yeah, it was just beautiful just to hear the commentators tails between their legs. It's not that bad. It's our fault. Media, we make it bigger than nothing. So, I really enjoyed seeing that.
Yeah, some good thoughts, Kai. Just so you know, by the way, your audio's glitching about a little bit, so I don't know if you want to re-plug in or try and reset your audio settings. We got the majority of what you're saying, but it sounded slightly glitchy, so I'll leave you to have a look at that. Mark, let's come over to you. What were your final thoughts on today's win?
Yeah, very exciting to watch, wasn't it? Obviously they started on the front foot, and with a team like Leeds, they do play great attacking football, and we needed to start that way. So we very much put them on the back foot. I thought Rashford and James were brilliant today. They ran those channels and they worked very, very hard. I thought McTominay was excellent. I thought Luke Shaw had a good game. Bruno is sensational. I was having a look at some stats earlier. He scores or assists every 83 minutes, and he's only lost 3 Premier League games since he's joined United, and that's quite incredible. He's brilliant, and we can't afford to lose him in any way, injuries, whatever. But no, it was great to watch today, and I really hope that we can continue going, with this, and we will get some negatives and hiccups along the way, but hopefully we can keep continuing as we are. I think there definitely are some defensive problems there. Obviously, the first goal we should defend much better. I think the second one, sometimes you don't expect those ones, but I feel like perhaps the midfielders could have chased it down a little bit better, a little bit quicker to stop them from having that opportunity. And we could have scored 10. And it was great to see. Very, very good today. Really happy.
Yeah, I do agree. I just want to go to this comment here because you mentioned McTominay. Jamie said Fred was good also. Charlie said Fred is such an underrated footballer. I just want to hit on these 2 points slightly on Fred. Then we'll come over to you, Jamie, on your thoughts on the game. I don't get more frustrated watching any footballer at the moment than I do watching Fred. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't think he's an underrated footballer. I think he's an underrated team player. And I think it's slightly different. I think that actually, when we signed Fred, you saw all the attributes and you saw all the compilation videos showcasing how Fred can retain possession, but also can play killer passes and score some great goals. We haven't seen necessarily that side of Fred here at Manchester United. We've seen a side of Fred where he is more or less like the workhorse of an N'Golo Kante, just without that end ball, just without that consistency in his passing. My problem, and Brendan, you are absolutely wrong. He is not the new Michael Carrick because he fails 9 times out of 10 to play a simple pass. And it does my head in with Fred because it's the only thing he needs to add to his game. Yeah. And it's really frustrating watching him because he makes the wrong decision with his passing so frequently. Yet I want him in my team because I don't know anyone who works harder than Fred in that Manchester United squad. When he really puts it on, him and McTominay in the middle are the 2 players that can win you a midfield battle. But if you're telling me, right, every time United play through a team, they have to play through Fred, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to go anywhere at all. Fred's passing is actually atrocious, I think.
I disagree.
You disagree? Did you watch him today?
No, I'll tell you why. Because I get what you mean by he gets some of the easy passes wrong, and there's some things which he does, and I think sometimes there's a lot.
But he doesn't attempt the big passes. He doesn't attempt the big passes, so he doesn't get them wrong.
If you see, because we have Bruno in front of him, if you see Fred does a lot of line breaking passes, a lot of passes which even to the left hand side as well, which go to either Teles to Luke Shaw or someone who really pushes forward. So he does do kind of a lot of ball progression from his end, but Kai, I do agree with you when you do say that some of his passing is loose. 100% I do agree. But the high risk amount of passes he does play forward from that deeper position is pretty high. He does get a lot of them.
I don't see it. I don't see high risk passing from Fred.
I do see it. He does have quite a lot of high risk passes which he attempts during games.
But additionally, though, just to hit on that, like sort of what you said there in terms of Fred and the way he sort of passes the ball. For me, the frustration with Fred is more the case that it's the simple stuff he gets wrong 99% of the time, which is what's frustrating. And then what he'll do is put himself back into a hole where then he will just literally play it sideways into Lindelof and Maguire for about 25 minutes. Additionally, I don't see the high risk passing with Fred. I think the best pass he played all game was from the edge of the box through to Martial. And that was a really nice ball. Other than that, he didn't really play a pass forward. He retained possession okay, but he also lost the ball in key areas. And the problem is if you're going to lose that ball in key areas 4 or 5 times in a match, right? And then you attempt maybe 5 or 6 key passes, as you would call them, and they don't work out. I'm sorry, but the key passes don't really count for anything apart from a statistic, because they've not made any overall difference in the landscape of the game. Whereas Fred could cost you X amount of goals a game with the amount he loses possession in horrible situations for Manchester United. Again, today we'll come on to it. I'm a bit pissed off with De Gea after today. He's made a number of really good saves today, but the first goal I think he should have saved, and the second was a really awful pass from David De Gea out, which gave Leeds a ball in an area where they managed to find space and score against us. And I think that's the problem, and that's my problem with Fred. And a bit similar to De Gea, because he made 3 or 4 good saves today, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm still frustrated because we shouldn't have conceded those 2 goals, because he could have prevented them, in my opinion. With Fred, you miss the good work he does because the simple stuff he gets wrong consistently. And that's my problem with him. But he's the best at what he does in our team. And that's the frustration, is that I want to love Fred, but I can't love him.
Henderson, though. Jordan Henderson, basically. To a certain extent, because he's only improved his a lot of his passing with the confidence he has now because he's gassed. But before, Henderson was just kind of the same. You get the kind of some of the basics wrong, gets a pass wrong here and there, but he's the kind of player that you need in your team.
I agree with this, by the way.
I mean,
because
if you put it into perspective, if he gets the simple things wrong, then surely it won't take too much time in order for him to get them right. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. So I do agree with what you're saying, Ben. I think he is like a terrier. I think someone put it in the comments. Actually, he chases the ball down well. He retains it very well, but he does get his passes wrong at times, and I saw him give it away a few times. I absolutely love Fred. I'm not jumping on him, but there are times when he needs to be a bit simpler and make sure that those passes reaches the next man.
But also learn his lessons as well, which I think is quite important. And I agree with this with Andy here. Compare the Fred of now to when he first came, improved loads. Absolutely. And I completely agree. And I do hope there's more to come from him, because I think we are seeing a way more disciplined version of Fred, who can basically not sit, but sort of roam behind anyone and do the dirty work that other midfielder doesn't need to do. So I do really, really like that. And wait a second, what's this here? There was another comment here, which the One United podcast, I don't know if James is on it, says Pogba's the same, he loses possession sloppily in dangerous areas. Yeah, but I think there's a slight difference between the two. I think Pogba loses the ball with the ball at his feet more than Fred, and Fred loses the ball more with loose passes. And I think that would be the slight difference with me. Some Jay, I'm happy with that. You can disagree with me if you want. I completely 100% accept that this is an opinion-based channel and everyone can have their own opinion.
I think Matic is the best ball-playing player we've got in the team from deep, but he just doesn't have the legs.
I also think that he's also better at bringing the ball out from tight situations, and I think he is massively underrated for doing that. The way he can bring the ball out of a back 3 and charge all the way to the 25-yard line in the opposition's half, I think is ridiculous. There's loads of comments coming in on Fred. Anyway, that's just my slight little frustration and negative and niggle with him. But Jamie, forgetting about Fred, I mean, you can praise him if you thought he was good today, because again, I thought he was good. Just frustrations with him with the ball at his feet. What are your thoughts on the performance today, Jamie?
Yeah, I thought Fred was brilliant. I did think he was good today, to be fair. I do get what you're on about, though. He just needs to keep his passes a little bit more simpler. And if he's going to pass, just do them easy passes. If he's not comfortable playing them deeper balls and breaking the lines, like Kai said, just keep it simple. Makalele made a career on it, didn't he? But anyway, I'm not getting to that. I think him and McTominay give us a really good base today. I think the lineup for one was absolutely spot on. You had your traditional haters on Twitter straight after Daniel James as soon as the team got put out. I just don't get it. I thought he played really well today. He was the perfect player to break in between them lines and really power in with pace into them wide spaces, because Leeds left some massive gaps today, and particularly James can take advantage of situations like that. So I was obviously on the post match, and obviously quite a lot of people in the comments, I recognised the names, so they were listening. So I don't want to sort of go over too much of what I spoke about earlier, but I think that the myth's gone of Ollie's, because Bielsa set up to press us high today, as he does every week, and get his more talented players on the ball to try and create, which I think they've done successfully, to be fair. But we sort of counteracted that with a counter-attack, and we left our 3 attacking players very high up the pitch today. And I think it was an absolute masterclass from Ollie, because they couldn't deal with the pace, particularly James and Rashford terrorised them. So McTominay was a 10 out of 10 for me today as well. But as I say, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, because obviously I was on the post-match show, so I'll just sort of let somebody else have their say on that, because I've already sort of done that today. So
yeah. Also on what you're saying there about Ollie, big praise, because I think also we've all called for him to use James in the right system, in the right games, and not throw him into games where we're playing against a low block where he is completely ineffective. And today he saw an opening for James to have a fantastic game, and boy, did Dan James have a fantastic game today, and really deserved his goal. So yeah, massive credit.
Wan-Bissaka was a bit of an issue on the right. He seems to be coming in a little bit too close to Lindelof. I know we've had a conversation briefly about it before, but the chances that they did have today with Harrison and with Rafinha, it's always down the right side. It's their left-sided player, and I'm like, is that something we maybe need to address? You know, and when you're playing that sort of high front three, you've got no cover for Bissaka there. And if Bissaka's one-on-one with a player, as in he's trying to beat him, 9 times out of 10 he wins the ball. But he seems to, when the other team are breaking on us, he seems to drift in and sort of be like playing a little bit closer to Lindelof, and they got a little bit of joy. You know, when balls like sort of coming across the box and it falls to their left-sided player, I feel like there's some work to be done there. But there's no negative.
I feel like,
you know, Jamie, I gotta agree with you over there. I think every time the ball gets switched, and you can see teams do it on purpose. So when they switch it from deep in their own half, then we're totally screwed, because it goes to Wan-Bissaka's side, and he struggles to read the 1-2s. If you see how often he gets played a 1-2 around, it's actually way too easy. And I don't know, I mean, whose fault it really is in that midfield. Maybe someone is not going into cover for him.
We saw this against PSG in Leipzig as well, didn't we?
It's happened consistently, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, I feel like he I don't know. I'm not blaming Lindelof at all, but I feel like he overcompensates for Lindelof at times, and he needs to stay out wider. But you're absolutely right.
And maybe Ollie's telling them to go narrow when we ain't got the ball, and sort of play a really tight, narrow sort of, because teams do get a lot of joy down our wings, because our left and right back, they tuck in, which I don't disagree with in certain games against the better teams. But I think we were like 4-1 up at the time when they had their chances, and it's like, them little moments can cost you in bigger games against Liverpool, because if that's falling to a Mane instead of a Harrison, that is a goal, you know. And I don't know, I maybe thought it was, I'm obviously not going to go into the tactical side like Abdul and Kai do, because they'll show me up big style, but I don't know if Ollie's like telling them to go narrow. And I thought maybe he is telling him that, but then I didn't really see that from Shaw today. Shaw sort of stayed in his position. It only seems to be Bissaka, but he seems very confident when the players running at him. He seems very comfortable when he's facing somebody up, but see if the ball comes in from the other side of the pitch, it's like he doesn't really know what to do, and he just sort of gets as close in and tries to become a third centre-back.
It also tactically wouldn't have made sense today for Wan-Bissaka to tuck in, because either way, as we've already discussed, we pushed our front four way further up the pitch today. Their duties today weren't to come track back and be defensive through the flank. But it just wasn't the way. So it makes Wan-Bissaka's positioning today makes no sense at all.
Yeah, and if you see any team we play who switches the ball as part of their attacking sequence, this happens actually way too often. And like you said, with Leipzig, today with Leeds, who was the other team? Sevilla, when they had Reguilon, it was exactly the same thing. We just get eaten all day long. And I think it's literally because we don't have a right winger who is just always there to help him, because probably the other guy is busy sitting somewhere in midfield, like a Mata or a Greenwood, who's actually obviously not interested about defending.
We've said,
and I really think it's
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Go on, carry on. I'll jump in.
That was me. That was me.
We've said this a lot about Rashford, actually. I don't feel he gives the opportunity to Luke Shaw on the left-hand side, and the same with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I feel like if we get a traditional right winger in, then that would certainly help both of them, because they're going to interchange from the left and the right. But I feel like when Rashford plays, you don't see Telles and Shaw getting forward and overlapping, because he's always hovering over that channel. And again, on the right hand side, he does exactly the same. So it doesn't give any space to either one of the fullbacks. So perhaps that could be a problem as well. Maybe if we get a traditional right winger, or Diallo, or Palestri when they come in, then we may see a better positional play from
Mark,
I think Luke Shaw's like.
It's even
I still think Sancho. I still think Sancho's on the card.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I think we don't attack on the right hand side with as much intensity. So I think as well we're too easy to press on that side. Because I think if we attacked all the time on the right hand side as well with the Sancho, like it would be perfect, because we'd put the other team under pressure. So I can't wait for the young man Ahmad to arrive probably.
And that's also really evident with how our press collapses when Bruno goes off, because then you've literally only got 2 out of 4 pressing and not like 4 out of 4. Just quickly, Brendan's thoughts here. Going there makes sense against a Bielsa team. We're not disputing that might have been what we were trying to do. We're not trying to say whether that was right or wrong. I think what we're more highlighting is the fact that this seems to be a trend with Wan-Bissaka in the moment in any game, not just against Bielsa teams, that he keeps coming really narrow, and we keep conceding goals.
I think it's we don't have any competition on the right for him. Like, whereas in certain games, if we need to be a bit more defensively, we can pick Shaw at left back, or if we need to be a bit more on the front foot, we can put Telles there. But Bissaka doesn't have anybody there. If we had maybe a more attacking fullback, right fullback, I'm not saying we need one, because I like Aaron, I rate him. But when Kai was saying Marcus is he hangs out on that left wing, he doesn't really come inside until he's got the ball. But Luke Shaw can make intelligent inverted runs inside of him, and then link the play up there. So when Rashford's holding his wing, Luke Shaw can sort of come round here in the middle, running through where the attacking midfielder would be.
Well, I think this is why we don't see a lot of. I feel like that's why we don't get a lot of crosses from Luke Shaw, because when Rashford plays on that left-hand side, because he is going on the inside, he's doing what Rashford would do, and because Marcus is completely on the edge.
Well, who knows, if you believe the rumours.
There's real teeth in the Trippier.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe that's why Trippier would be actually perfectly for this United squad,
be a good
potentially.
Do you think Bissaka could be a centre back longer term?
I think he is quality, and I think with Bissaka, I think he's better, if anything, defensively. I'm not saying he's not a good, fullback, but facing up 1-to-1, you wouldn't want anyone really against him. So potentially he could see him as a centre back. Potentially when he gets a bit older. I'm not trying to put him there. I'm not trying to say play his position, but I think he is a quality defender. Like,
but there's always the option of Tuanzebe as well.
Yeah, let's not forget as well, Natalie. Let's not forget Natalie as well. You're completely spot on with that, and we wouldn't need to rely on him as much getting forward if we had, as mentioned, a proper right winger at the club and someone who can really spread the play and play off of him. But anyway, let's come to you, Natalie, quickly. We'll come back to this chat in a second, because I just want to get through to you and John on your final thoughts from today's game. So what were your thoughts, Natalie?
For me, it was a fantastic game. I mean, God, like 2 minutes in and it's 1-0. Then Scotty scored again. And you're thinking, you're at like 4. And you're thinking, shit, are we going to, like you said, we're going to score 8. We're going to score this. We're going to do this. And then obviously, second half, Dan James scored and the penalty. But I just think, for me, it was just dreamland, even getting 2 goals in such quick succession, going in 4-1 up. I thought, that's it. We've won it, and I'm not saying that they thought like that, but there was frustration. I agree. I know we talked about it, but I agree about the Fred thing. I think he could eventually, but I think that's what Ollie sees him as, taking over from Matic, and he keeps getting better. I think players like him, I think he's learning still. I mean, I know he's quite old, but you're always learning, aren't you? And I think he'll become like a real integral part for us. In my opinion, I really rate him. But I really rate everyone. I mean, I've always loved Scotty from the day that he first, got his debut, and now that he's scoring goals, and he was scoring, when we were in the stadiums as well. So I think, he's just getting back into his own, and he's putting pressure on different players. But I think everyone played really well. Solid Martial. I think we saw, movement was quality, linking up was quality. So I thought, he had a really good game for me. But I'm just happy that we actually won for once, and we started fast, and we, you don't see 6-1 scorelines a lot. So I think 6-2, sorry, but you don't, and those 2 goals did, you could say, potentially put a downer, but it didn't matter for me. I think 3 points all we wanted. We're moving up the table, and to score 6 goals at home, it's been a while, It's been a while that we've won at home. Never mind scoring.
How much do you wish you were there today, Natalie?
Oh, it would have been fantastic. The place would have been rocking. First minute, and then those 2 goals in quick succession. Oh my God, you would have just passed out at half time, probably thinking, what is going on? This is not real.
Ollie's at the wheel,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, definitely. John, let me come over to you. Final thoughts, mate. Nasty summed it up perfectly, as have the guys. But some final thoughts from you today, John.
Yeah,
On
she was spot on when we talked about the defence, and I think the Spurs game was a real watershed. The defence was like Keystone Cops. It was that bad, and I think the defence isn't perfect at the moment, but I think it's slowly coming together. And we go on about we get frightened of them playing around at the back, trying to play it out. What they did today was play it out a lot faster from the back. And when McTominay picked the ball up, he wasn't facing his own goal. And there wasn't somebody at his back, forcing him back. When he picked it up today, because we were playing out faster, he was already turning to go forward. And that was a massive difference, because that's his game. He's not necessarily a defensive midfielder, but he's done a job that he's been asked to do. When you see, he started out as a striker, and he's basically played every position down the spine of that team. He's played midfield, defensive midfield, defence, and sweeper. But because he started out as a striker, his natural instinct is to go forward. And so I think what you've seen in him today was he picked the ball up and he was already turning to go forward and look to play it off, and it was a huge difference. So that's McTominay in a nutshell for me.
Yeah, and I think also when he scored, that was a fantastic finish, by the way. Fantastic finish.
I highlighted it. The way he let the ball come through his legs and then controlled it with his right foot and slotted it away with his left. If there'd been anybody else in the world, they'd been absolutely raving about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was 2 fantastic goals there and some fantastic build-up play as well. Let's not forget about that. Let's reflect on some of the points made then. Kai, let me come over to you. Look, you said a little bit there on Rashford. I'll let you speak a little bit more on him, because you really were impressed with him today, weren't you? And you're really excited by how well he's been in the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. I just like the fact that when we saw when Rashford obviously started, the one thing obviously that wasn't his strongest point was his finishing, because he wasn't a center forward when he was playing in the academy for too long, I don't think. He gets thrown in as this teenager in a quite dysfunctional team, and then he just goes and he starts playing up front, starts scoring goals. And I think it would have been so easy for him to be burnt out already. But if you look at his age now, and you look at his fitness level now, and you look at how his body's developed in these last three to 4 years, and you look at the current situation, then you can see that he's actually gone over that. There's always that Michael Owen corridor where, players get burnt out type of thing when they're too young. But now he's gone past that, and now he's on his way to becoming, something else, I think, and it just makes it easy to like him because of obviously all the off the pitch things which he does. Coming from a disadvantaged background myself as well. But it always, when I see him doing well on the pitch, I have such a good feeling. It's like he's playing for us. He's playing for the people. And when I see that he still plays with with the childishness which he does in terms of his flair. In fact, his flair has just improved. You know, he used to dribble to dribble. Now he's dribbling for a purpose. And the amount of nutmegs, I think he's a nutmeg king. I think he's got more nutmegs than El Had Juice now, because I think him and Neymar are doing this on a regular basis now. You know, just facing a defender up, and then before they know it, through the legs, goodbye. And he's getting less of the tunnel vision as well, because if you remember, Rashford had, you know, he still has some of it now, but now he has a lot less of it because he's become a little bit more of a playmaker. He's become more smart. And we touched on how Ole wants, you know, a lot of strikers, but he also wants a lot of forwards that do different things and that are able to score different types of goals and add different types of things. And if we saw Rashford and Martial, they normally have, you know, this trajectory which was always kind of put next to each other, but they're so different in what they offer the team as well. And I just think, you know, Rashford, from free kicks to passing to finishing, I mean, that touch and control in the last game against Sheffield was world class. People won't talk about that, but not many players can see the ball over the shoulder, touch it, and bang it immediately. That is, you know, Robin van Persie level stuff. That is Wayne Rooney type of stuff. So I really think he is maturing into being a world-class player for us soon. I mean, if Sterling was world-class with his numbers, then surely if Heung-min Son is world-class with his numbers, then obviously Marcus Rashford has to be world-class with his numbers. And it's not just pens, like everyone said before, either.
I think,
Not yet.
I
Not
think what
yet.
might help Rashford as well is watching Cavani.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And he has definitely come on this season.
Watching his movements and the way he just drags defenders out of position, that will help Marshall, Greenwood, Rashford. It'll help all them.
I think he's improving.
And today everyone was passing as well. If you saw our front line, if you remember the last game, I think was it the Leipzig game where I think Greenwood and Rashford had 2 moments to pass to each other for basically like a one-on-one or clear goal, whatever. And now today you actually saw that Martial and Rashford and everyone were linking up. They were actually looking to link up. Even Rashford, sometimes when he's right in front of goal where he normally just shoots for no reason, he was actually stopping a little bit and saying, oh, where's the better option? Turn Bruno there. And then, so I think, look, I'm just happy. We beat Leeds 6-2, man. Come on.
No, I do like what you're saying. The only thing that I sit uncomfortable with, and I've said this many times before, is how easily we dish out the world-class term. That's my only bugbear.
Yeah.
I think my personal opinion, again, we all have opinions on what we class as world class or not, but you've got to show a level of consistency over a period of time. And I just think he's getting there. And I think I'm so excited to watch Rashford, because I think, you know, this isn't just a player who's going to become world class. This is a player who's going to become a legend, an icon, a statue. Like, he is going to become a generational talent that inspires so many others, and he's getting there. And the fact he's just a top bloke as well, I think just says it all.
And you know, Ben, he's carrying like so much on his back. Like, he's literally carrying so many people's hopes on his back, and he still turns up for Manchester United and bangs it in the net, and still tells everyone that it's about the fans. You know, it's about making us happy. I have so much respect for that, you know.
Yeah, he could be playing Xbox. I probably would be. And instead, he's like, all right, Bojo, what can we do for... Freaking love it. What a guy. Prime Minister part-time and footballer, you know, for the rest of the time. I love that. Mark, let me come over to you, because we put out a few bits on Martial on the Awful United Twitter account. There's mixed reviews on Martial today, actually. People might be shocked to think. People thought that overall he played well, but in front of goal, looked poor again today. What was your thoughts on Martial today, and is there anything else you want to hit on when it comes to his performance?
Yeah, I think he's just lacking in confidence at the moment. I think we've said many times previously, he is one of our best finishers. I think the only person that's better than him is Greenwood, statistically. Today he had a couple of opportunities. I think they were relatively simple chances. I think he's very good at getting the very difficult chances, but today he struggled with a couple of simple ones. But unfortunately, he's a bit of a confidence player, and I think Rashford is as well. You know, up until 3 games ago, Rashford's decision making was poor, but he's actually been very good at that. So you know, he got a goal on Thursday, and he got 3 assists today. And I think he was excellent. I said in a few chats actually, whilst the game was on at the very beginning, he looked incredibly sharp. And I don't think I know the whole team was very good and they all looked sharp, but he was incredibly sharp too. And I think, when you see that, you're going to get a better game from him. Now, I don't think, obviously, as goal scorer, your job is to score goals. But I also believe that it's very much a team game, and if you're providing 3 assists and playing very well and holding on to the ball, the link-up play was excellent. I think that deserves a lot of plaudits too. So
yeah. No, bang on, spot on. Jamie, let me come over to you quickly, and let's let you wax lyrical about Scott McTominay's performance today. In commentary, they were comparing him to Keane and Scholes mixed together at one point. It's like, put him in hell. We're coming a long way here. What was your thoughts on McTominay today, and what does he need to do to keep this up consistently?
I think to a certain extent, he's a confidence player as well. And he's another one of these players that gets a little bit of stick if he doesn't have a very good game. But Ollie likes him, which that should say everything to us as a fan base. At the end of the day, we support our manager, and if he picks the player, then that should be enough for us. But it just doesn't seem to work in our fan base. But I think every club's got that certain players. Like Arsenal have a couple of them. Xhaka gets a lot of stick, sort of, for example. But
they've got 11 of them, haven't they?
Yeah, well, at the moment they have. Yeah, they've got a terrible manager as well at the moment. But anyway, I just thought he was brilliant, and he, you know what it is? He's just like the lad from the street, isn't he? That you can't get past, and he'll just hack you down. And I thought he was absolutely quality today. He's an instrumental part of our team at the moment. I think him and Fred are so important, and I said on the post match as well. If I was Matic, I'd be sort of looking at the situation at the moment, struggle to get in this team at the moment, because I feel like Scott McTominay gives Fred what Fred doesn't have, and vice versa. Like, they've both got attributes that fit each other's game. It's like 2 good players in one. If that makes sense. But consistency wise, I just think he's just got to stick to his football. I'm pretty sure he doesn't sort of take notice of the whole social media cult around United, and if they keep him away from that, that's good man management for me. If the staff sort of say to him that don't worry about that, just concentrate on your football. But he's got a long way to go. He's a young lad, but he's an international. He plays centre back in Scotland's team, so he's clearly got a little bit about him. Like Mourinho played him at centre-back. I know that didn't really work out on the day against West Ham, but he's obviously quite a versatile player, and you're not a bad player. If you're a defensive-minded player and Jose Mourinho did it and given you an award that he's made up himself, you've clearly got something about you. Not that I'm going into Jose too much, but he likes that sort of hard work ethic player, and I feel like there's definitely a player in there. And I don't know who mentioned it earlier, but someone says if Scott McTominay is your backup player, you've got a good player in that position, because he's a workhorse. He gives 110%, and he cares about the job as well. You can tell that that badge means everything to him. And to me as a fan, give me 11 of them. I'm quite big on work ethic and will to win and desire and wanting to do your best for the club. So he might not be technically the best player, but he's got time on his side to get that. What Kai was saying earlier, to be able to play through the lines from deep, I feel like that's something he can learn on. But when he gets a chance, he can finish. It's a difficult one with him because I don't feel like he's ever going to be that top level player. If he has a career at United like a Darren Fletcher, for example, that's very consistent, very reliable, I think he could have a really good career at United, and I hope he does, because like I say, he's one of the lads, isn't he? He's United through and through. But it's difficult to know where he's going to go with it. But I feel like Ollie's the correct guy to guide his career, and he definitely brings the attributes to the table that Fred and Matic don't bring. So and he's got legs. He can get up and down. But it's a difficult one to say, where does he need to be consistent. I don't know if any of the other guys can jump in there. I'm not too sure what he needs to do. I think he's doing his best at the moment.
He's already improved.
Yeah.
In the last month, he's already improved. Just passing the ball forward. I mean, we said it against City that he was almost press resistant. He was just confident. He was just receiving, playing it forward. And you can see it today as well. I actually put out a tweet just before the game saying, don't be surprised to see Scott actually being in that role where he gets pressed, but actually being able to release. Because I mentioned it that his body shape has changed completely. When he receives the ball, you can already see his intention is he wants to play the ball a bit forward. Before, he was receiving it, running directly towards the guy giving him the ball, and the only thing he could do was collect and then move forward. But now he's changed. Every time he's going to get it, he's touching it. His first touch is, towards where he wants to go instead of, anywhere else. And I already think that's an improvement on his part. So I think he's getting there. But I think experience, for me, it's experience. When he's really experienced, you'll see some of those basic skills really start to shine more, because you'll really now understand, his space, where the game goes. And yeah, so I think experience will make him just generally a better player. I don't think he has to be better technically than he actually is now.
Yeah.
Would you play him in that deep central defensive midfield role, Kai? If we were, how we sort of play a two and then Bruno. Would you play him in that defensive midfield role? No.
No, I wouldn't, because he's not there yet. That's what I mean.
What do you think of him, Ben?
Spatial awareness.
My thing with McTominay is I don't know where his ceiling is. And I think that's why when we keep going back to, we're doing the right thing if McTominay's a squad player. Well, are we? Because if he's better, if we can still get more out of him, if McTominay's our backup, is that better for us? I'm not so sure, because sometimes when you've got a very good footballer mixed with a little bit of emotion, a little bit of passion, you can get an extra 50% out of that player every single game, and then an extra 100% over a whole season, compared to a world-class player just coming into that midfield and doing their job, so to speak. So for me, the thing with McTominay is where's his ceiling?
What I think he does as well is what a lot of people don't notice is when the opposition have got the ball, he puts himself in areas that eliminates avenues for the opposition. He marks zones and he restricts their movement that way. Even though he might not have the ball, he forces them to go other routes. He puts himself in that area, and he's good at marking zones like that.
Do you know what I think he's good at doing, John? I think he's good at doing the job that the manager tells him to do.
Yes,
and I think that's so powerful.
That's exactly what I said earlier.
Yeah.
He's also
we've seen a different Scotty with different managers. Potentially under Mourinho, he's very defensive, wasn't moving forward a lot. It was, keep the ball. But now with Ollie, he's a bit more free, he can go forward. I mean, that second goal was absolutely amazing. But I agree with, I think it's Jay, what you said about he's like Darren Fletcher. And I think Darren was underrated for me by a lot of fans. Eventually he came out and you saw, and like what Kai just said, with the experience as he went on. And I think with Scott, it's just, let him play. You can see the passion, you see how much he loves it. And I know that it's not all about that, but I think, if you've got a player that is like, Manchester United through and through, you do get that extra bit out of them and the will to fight till the end a bit more. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't, but, for me, I think keep playing him, play players on form, and you'll see the best Scotty. I really, really rate him. I adore him. I love him. I've loved him since that first.
That's the thing. What a lot of people don't do is appreciate the dirty side of the game. The dirty.
You have to have players that will do that.
Absolutely.
John,
I'm with Ben though. I don't know how high. I don't know how better he can sort of get. I don't know if he's peaked already, but if he has peaked, still a good player.
I don't know. Maybe John, maybe you can tell us this in terms of Scott McTominay's development, because we know that he had this growth spurt, which kind of, delayed his development a little bit. What type of a player was he before that? Was he the same?
He was like when he first come through the academy. He was like your lanky striker. He was a little bit like Joe Hugel is now. Big, tall, rangy striker, and what he put himself about. But then I think with the likes of Rashford and other youngers coming through, and I don't think he thought he was good enough to play as a striker. So he adapted himself, and he's built. And when you look at him now, it must look like the Terminator running at you.
So basically, he's been just adjusting himself all his career, and
Absolutely.
I think that's a massive talent that he has. Then
Yeah,
that's why he's
absolutely,
so
yeah.
useful for Ole, because he knows now how to handle himself, and like
and you've got to have like the mindset to do that as well. To anything to get in that team, and I think he's spot on. I think when you look at him, you look at the size of him and the way he moves and what have you, and I think he puts a bit of fear into the opposition to start with.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying about the that's the McTominator. That's what I'm saying though about that passion. If you can get if you've got a very good player with that passion, they don't need to be world class. They need to just be very good and be able to do their job. What we've learned about Scott McTominay is he can do exactly the job that the manager asks him to do. We've learned that he can thrive off of confidence and run games. He can do that. He loves the club. He just wants to be in that team. He's got drive. He's got passion. So this is what I mean with his ceiling. How much better can he get technically? Where is he best playing? But also, I think the great thing about Scott McTominay is it's proven. Well, I'd say it's proven. I think it is anyway. That some of the best midfielders actually at youth level played as strikers. Scholes is one.
That Hugo is a cracking little player as well. Going back to him quickly, he looks a brilliant striker. That Hugo.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. He's fantastic. There's a few. There's Hugo. There's Dylan Hugo.
I hope they start coming through now because we've got some great players in the academy.
Yeah, there's one young lad, Savage. I don't know who's his name is.
I think there's some fantastic players like coming through, and as you say, I think Scott McTominay is one of those as well. Which at youth level you can look up to the Scots, you can look up at the Rashfords, you can look up at the Greenwoods, and go, do you know what? I've actually got a chance here. I need to put my everything into this because you've got the talent. You're at Manchester United. Now you grow and you're inspired to be on that football pitch and you can get there. And I think Scott McTominay is fantastic. And I do think we throw this out way too easily for every player. But also another thing that you always see with Scott McTominay is talking to the players around him. He's definitely a leader in that dressing room. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's fantastic. And I've heard as well that he gets responsibility with Scotland alongside Robertson as well. So, yeah, fantastic. Look, this is my only thing with him. I think if he can go that level up, forget about him being a squad player. He should be one of the first names in the team sheet because, as we said, he's press resistant. He can pass forward. He's changing his body shape. He's learning. He's passionate. So we'd have to see where we're going moving forward with him. But yeah,
I mean, then for me, sorry, guys, for me, yeah. I mean, it was talked about Jordan Henderson. He was seen as sort of like a basic player. Why are they signing him? This and that. But he's another one who's willing to do anything the manager says. And I think, we had Fellaini in doing that. And I'm not saying, Scott and Fellaini, but, look how many managers kept him and look how, how valued that someone who'll just do, this is what I want you to do. Go out and do it. Go out and do the plan that I've asked. And, I think he's underrated. I've said
people can say what they want about Jose Mourinho. He's never done that for a footballer before. And I'm not being funny. Jose Mourinho is in a great position to tell you what he thinks about players who he has managed. And he waxes lyrical about Scott McTominay. He was
linked with Tottenham, like when he went playing for us. Yeah. Weren't you linked with Tottenham when Jose went there? Yeah.
Mourinho would snap United's hand off to have McTominay in that Tottenham squad. I tell you now, he really would.
Jose brought him in for a lot of ridicule. Remember with that free kick when he lied down behind the defensive wall, and he there was a lot of ridicule for McTominay after that, and I felt sorry for him. But I think you'll see McTominay go up to the next level once the defence is settled.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because we haven't got much time left, I just want to hit on with you, Nasty and John, about moving forward. I mean, we've spoken about being in a title race, but obviously big cup game coming up on Wednesday. Please don't be the nightmare before Christmas, guys. Come on, come on, let's sort this out. Natalie, looking ahead to that game. I mean, we managed to get Bruno off at a good time. We managed to obviously take Shaw off to give him some respite. Would you expect us to go full strength against Everton, or do you expect to see the likes of Greenwood, Cavani come in, Van der Beek's come in? But also, what great options to have. Our three changes who came on today was Telles, Van der Beek and Cavani.
It's a mad where we've got this depth, and I mean, it's good. And when we were signing, Cavani and Telles, they were all like last minute struggles, but they are really great players, and I think they're pushing and they're adding Shaw's got that option and got that competition, and it's good for him. And now Greenwood can get a rest because Cavani and all the young strikers are learning off someone like Cavani. It is great to see. I think we have to go for it. I think, quarterfinals, Everton are a good side, so I don't think we can underestimate them sort of like playing a weaker team, or I'm not saying he's going to play a weaker team, because obviously those 3 players you mentioned, they'd be fantastic in any team, but I think you definitely have to go for it. I want to see Bruno starting. I think when we don't start him, it's a different game. So I think, definitely Bruno starting, and I think let's go for it. You play the I was going to say League Cup, in the middle of the season. And we're talking about these players thriving off confidence. I mean, imagine if we got Wembley in February, and then won that trophy, and then kicking on, and we're saying we're in a title charge. For me, it's go for it, keep winning these games, and it's just 3 points the way I see it. That's how I see it, sort of tunnel vision kind of thing. Just win your next game. Just win your next game. I mean, the women at the top of the league, that's how they do it. They just go, right, who we got next? Let's win. Hasn't
she done a brilliant job, Casey Stoney?
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality, that's the mindset you got to have.
Yeah.
Don't think about anyone else around you. You've just got to win, and I think, it's great. Both teams won, scored 6 goals. It's great time.
The women team conceded 1 less goal, though, right?
What's that?
The women's team conceded 1 less goal, so the bragging rights are still with our ladies, 100%.
I think what you said there, Natalie, was spot on, though. Like, I think we have a tendency to look too far ahead. Like, we're looking 3-4 games ahead. Just concentrate on what you've got and put your team out for that, then move on to the next one when that's done.
Mm-hmm. I suppose so. A slight bit of but then also a slight bit of skepticism. There's so many bloody games in this period, isn't there? And looking into January, there's so many that Fergie was always. Again, you can't compare managers. That's not me doing this, but a fantastic manager planned so far in advance that he sees things that no one else sees. So you're sort of just hoping that Ollie's not just got a plan for Everton, or he hasn't just got a plan for today. He's got a plan for Villa on the 1st of January. Like, he's thinking ahead about how his teams might look. So, John, I take it wouldn't be a surprise to see. I would like to see James keep his place. I'd like to see Van der Beek come in. I'd like to see McTominay out there. But all in all, if we want to go for it, how much do we look at that team selection once it's announced and go, oh, that's a weaker team, so to speak?
I don't know, because I think he'll play Pogba. I think he'll give him a run out again. And the likes of Van der Beek, I'd love to see him get a game. I know I questioned Natalie and the lads earlier about if Woodward was if Van der Beek was a Woodward signing. It's just strange to me at the moment how he's not getting a game, but hopefully he'll play against Everton. But to me, there's a vital player there on the bench who just brings a wealth of experience, and to me he's still underrated, is Juan Mata.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you've got him on the bench as well, he just brings a wealth of knowledge. And he's not physically very quick, but his speed's all in his mind. And I think he's a real quality player to have on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think you'll see more of him, actually. I think he'll probably make an appearance.
With Van der Beek, I actually think that, if you heard his comments when he was signed, he said that he spoke to the manager, and the manager told him exactly where he wanted him to play and his whole vision. And then you look at, the CEO, and that's Van der Sar. And then you look at how generally Ajax takes their youngsters seriously. Then you see that I don't think at all this was just a Woodward signing. There is no way Van der Sar would just say,
exactly. You're right.
You go.
The problem for Van der Beek is he's not. He can't play as a number 10 because Bruno.
But it's
Bruno,
literally.
Bruno is phenomenal, and it will come. He's not quite a number 8. He's better as a number 10. But how do you can't replace Bruno? He's phenomenal. At some point, he's going to need rest. He's going to need that. Do you know? And like midweek, exactly. And that's when he's going to get his opportunity. And that's a problem. Now, if you can get a central defensive midfielder, to sit in front of the defence, to shore up the defence, so you can play possibly Bruno and Van der Beek. You can play them both, no problem at all. But at the moment, you cannot replace Bruno.
I agree with you, and I also
think Donny, like, even if he plays well against Everton, he has a 10 out of 10 game. He gets a goal, he gets an assist, we win 2-0. He's out the team at the weekend, isn't he? for Bruno.
Van der Beek's got a great situation at the moment where he just needs to learn with every game about the Premier League,
exactly.
the type of opposition, because he comes into his own if Pogba leaves in the summer, because then straight away you've got a player there who is moulded now to the Premier League, who can come in, play that game, and as you say, Mark, we're then looking for a defensive midfielder to replace Pogba, who can then complement Van der Beek, can complement Bruno Fernandes. I said it at the start, I think he's had a good start whenever we've seen him on the pitch. But again, I'll go back to when he was announced, and we spoke about him on this channel as someone who would be a backup option to Bruno Fernandes in the short term. And I still see him as that. So I'm not as worried about him not getting as many games.
And Ben, with what's it called, Van der Beek as well. Can you imagine if when everyone was unfit, when we didn't have a preseason, when none of this happened, can you imagine if Ole had played Van der Beek through the bad form that we had? Imagine if he had forced in Cavani through the bad form, despite the fact that he was half fit or whatever. If he had just forced so many of these signings in there during that time, we would probably be looking at very signings with horrible confidence, and fans getting on their back and all of this. And what that's allowed is for everyone to just talk about why Van der Beek is not starting. And that's actually not even that much of a concern. The manager has his concerns and his reasons and whatever. And that's all we're talking about. And we're not talking about Van der Beek being horrible, having a bad game on the pitch. But we're talking about the moments we've seen him having good games and stuff. And I think once we are all smooth, everything is now, rolling, and he can just come in, I think then it will be a lot better transition. So I think it's good man management, because the Premier League, people actually laugh at the Premier League and say, yeah, look at teams beating each other by high scores. But it really is a different beast. I've been looking at it over the last few years and really looking at how the players, when they come in, how the level changes. And it's not even about the level of quality maybe, but it's just the intensity. It really is intense. It's not just people saying, yeah, it's the Premier League and it's it really is a different beast when you see how quickly those guys are running. And they all pick up weight when they get there. Everyone, when they get to their teams, they become from little skinny guy to, really, buffed up, quick. Everyone's quick. Everyone's fast. You got center backs who challenge you in a 100-meter race. You don't have, lugs at the back. So I think it's good that, this has happened this way and that we're in third right now. And
yeah, I do agree. I think it's an evolution, and we'll get there with Van der Beek. I want to talk about one more thing quickly because we're running out of time. Sorry, Kai. Just one more thing quickly. Who's good at maths?
Me.
Go on, John. 17 plus 12.
29.
Yes, that's how many goal contributions Bruno Fernandes has had in 27 Premier League games.
He gets a goal and an assist every 83 minutes, and he's only lost 3 Premier League games since joining United. He is an absolute baller.
Yeah,
and guys, it's crazy.
I just don't understand.
We do it around a lot, don't we, Ben? World class.
But he is.
World class. He'd get into any team. Any team.
Yeah.
But not just that, he was doing this at Sporting. People forget these statistics he was rolling out for 2 seasons at Sporting.
I think the worry for him at Sporting is obviously when you go from the Portuguese league, no disrespect to the Premier League, that was the difficult transition. But he's obviously gone over and above and proved that completely wrong. So
he has been great players from Sporting.
And this is what I wanted to say about him today. This is a big worry for me. As soon as Van der Beek came off the field today, our ball intensity and progressive football was not as good, and we really need to try and find as well. This is obviously low on the priority list. Hopefully Bruno is forever a superhuman and can play every game, but we need to probably find someone that can progress the ball like he does. And obviously Grealish would have been that perfect man really, but whether or not we'll get him, I don't know.
Pogba can do it, but his heart's not in it half the time.
No, he's not quite the same player.
Only worry. Sorry, Mark.
No,
over you there, mate. I didn't mean that. My only worry, with Bruno is if we consistently over the next couple of years and it's not impossible because there's so many good teams in the league. If we start finishing like 5th, 6th in a couple of years' time, and we're not sort of getting Champions League football a lot, and we're not sort of bringing in the right players to complement the better players like Bruno in the squad. If the big teams come calling for Fernandes in a couple of years and we've finished maybe 5th for the next 2 seasons, I think he's going to be awake, and I don't think he's the only player in the team that will be away either.
I think he's that good though. He's put us in a title race this year. He has put us in this title race this year. He's that good. Like he's the difference in this team. That he's going to push us. He's going to push Liverpool, and that's when you know you've got a world class player. Jarvis here, by the way. Jarvis, good to have you with us. Bruno Fernandes is phenomenal. A top world class player, probably top 5 in the world at the moment. I'd say he's probably number 1.
I think number one. I know I've got reason. I've got bias. I am massively biased, but I also think how long does Bruno need to keep this up to become to a generation one of those players where you're like, bloody hell, do you remember when Bruno Fernandes was playing for Man United because the numbers he's getting and what he's doing every game I'm watching at the moment. I watch Bruno Fernandes. He would do three or 4 things, whether they always come off, that I just look at and go,
wow.
He's so passionate as well.
And with Bruno as well, like he's got this, when I look at him and I see the passion he has for the club and the way that he speaks and the fact that he wants the armband and all of that. Do you know what I see? I see a classic number 6 Regista when he turns 32 or whatever, or when he goes 30, 31. And he's just that classic guy that plays in defensive midfield, sharing the ball, pinging it around. And I just love that fact of just an old veteran Portuguese player who's just going to be holding our midfield for so long. I think if he stays for long, he could be one of some of the best value for business we've ever done.
Well, he's 26. He's 26.
Prime Rui Costa.
He's not even in his prime yet.
This is why people who quote statistics wind me up. You can have a player who can make 25-yard passes, 100% success rate. Bruno, he'll try the spectacular, he'll try the difference, and he might only pull it off 50% of the time, but that's what you want.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you play that kind of football and play progressive passing,
you take risks.
Be taking risks,
Yeah.
so you will make more mistakes. That's just stats. But the thing is with him is he can have a shit game and still get a goal or assist. And that's what you have in a world-class player. And I know we are biased. You're absolutely right, Ben. But I do not think you're wrong. He is probably the best midfielder in the world.
I just love watching him. I love watching him.
Skip with them penalties, though. Oh my god!
Love
the arrogance.
Oh man, it gives my anxiety to the roof, man. When he does that, I tell you, like I just think
he's reinvented a way to take penalties. It's bloody bonkers.
Yeah, but he's so confident. He doesn't care. Like you can see Bruno. He's probably one of those guys on the playground who everyone just respected, but also hated, because he's also a little bit of a shit house, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. And he knows he's good as well.
He knows 9 times out of 10, the goalie moves when he does that Scott. What am I on about? Skip. And the goalie moves, and then he places it in the corner where the goalkeeper hasn't went. So it's intelligent.
Yeah.
But can I say to anyone out there, if you've got a football right at home, try and do that run up and kick the ball and change where you're going to put that ball in the last minute.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I can guarantee you'll fall on your ass.
There's no Samuel Sabroza. You know Samuel that used to play for Benfica, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Left winger, little small. He used to take penalties sort of like that, and he was like well known for being the best penalty taker in Portugal, and now Bruno.
But Bruno also does it twice. Bruno can miss one, and then if it's a retake, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the hop again."
I remember when he done it, and I think I tweeted, "For God's sake, don't do that. Skip this time."
Was it PSG? No, it wasn't PSG. Who was it against? Who was it where he missed the penalty? It was PSG. He missed a penalty, didn't he, against PSG? Then done it again.
Yeah, he did, but he also missed one against, wasn't it, in the Brighton in the
Brighton?
Yeah. He scored
just
again, didn't he?
Quickly, John, let me come over to you quickly. What do you make of Bruno Fernandes? How good is he compared to other players you've seen stick on that red jersey?
Well, when you consider what the price that we paid for him, he didn't come with a massive hoo-ha or massive reputation, but everybody said, "Oh, he's only 47 million." It's he can't be that good, because people associate your price tag with how good you are. But I think the scouts have done their job. They've kept an eye on him, and we got him at the right price. I think he's been absolutely. You can't speak highly enough of him. Just can't.
And we signed a captain as well. a proper leader.
he is a
It's
real leader.
You can't understate
I think
that.
his off the ball work is very underrated as well.
Him in the press. We have no press without Bruno Fernandes. It's sensational. No, fantastic.
If you believe like what the press said about his reaction after that Spurs game when he went absolutely loopy in the changing rooms, that's what you want. You want that sort of character.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. If someone's lambasting you for playing shit, you need to be told.
You know, when United's Twitter page put up pictures of the boys training and videos and that, like the players training, I love it when I see Fernandes pure scolding someone for misplacing a pass in training.
And it's great because also he keeps the young lads up front awake as well, right? Like the Rashfords, the Martials to say, hey, you better press. You know, let's go now. You know, I think
always looks to pass forward, don't it?
Yeah. Let me ask one more question. Because there's a couple of comments in here, Natalie, about when fans get back into the stadium and they get to see Bruno Fernandes play. And there's a tweet not long ago when people said Bruno doesn't actually know how much United fans love him. When we get back in stadiums, they will know. God, at the Theatre of Dreams is a perfect stadium for him to showcase exactly what he's got. It's just going to be the atmosphere when we get to watch United play again at Old Trafford, and Bruno Fernandes is on that pitch. What are you expecting?
Oh, like his song for 90 minutes. I mean, we had a bit of him, didn't we? You know, just before lockdown, and I remember it was just all rocking, and you know, I can definitely see it like him walk. I mean, I don't know how big it's going to be, but you know, walking around the edge, clapping all the fans at the end. It's going to be great. I mean, that's potentially when it's full, which won't be for a while, but. You know, you can see him really. I mean, he does it already, and the fans aren't even there. So, you know, you can see him that passion, and he's so committed to the shirt. You can see him dying for the shirt, really. And it's I just can't wait to see him again, and you know, him get that love that he really deserves. Because, like you say, he doesn't know how much, but he will definitely find out, and it's going to be a good day when all the fans are allowed back in.
And I 100% echo that.
Can I just say to Nat that when we're all on again, next time, Nat, we're all wearing the same top as you because we look dead boring compared to you.
Well, do you know what? On that,
I've got away from United, didn't I?
Just quickly on that, Mark, I know you've just stood up, but either you or Jamie have decided to coordinate today, just from what we can see, or you're in the same prison. It's one or the other.
Wore the same top as Natalie.
On a phone call, see what he was wearing. I made sure I wore the same thing. Yeah.
Who pulls it off better?
I'm just not as good looking as you, Mark.
Well, mine's a Tesco value jumper.
Love that.
So
you've got a better hairline as well, Mark.
And if Tesco's want to be our sponsorship, we can make Mark wear that top every week. All you've got to do is get in touch, all right?
Bring Joe's comment up, Ben. Joe's comment. Wishing us all a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, by the way, can I just quickly say, so I do need to say this. So I've actually, because long explanation short, we've been smashed into tier 4 down here, so I'm having to be up at the day job quite a lot, so I'm not going to be able to jump on between now and New Year. This is actually going to be my final show until 2021 on the channel, so just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's watched the channel since we basically brought it back from the dust in the summer. The support's been absolutely outrageous. I think we're nearly on 1.8k now, and the Twitter's growing to 120k. The Facebook's so active. You know, the audience, we're seeing loads of the same faces coming back and getting into conversation with us. I don't know about you guys, but that's why I love doing this, because I know I'm going to see Brendan. I know I'm going to see Brown Knight. I know I'm going to see people jumping in and giving their thoughts. And I know that people love having their thoughts aired as well. So that's what we love to do here at All for United. So thank you to everyone who's dropped a like, dropped an opinion, got in the live chat, shared the link, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everyone, but also massive thank you to Karthik, Joe, Mark's been doing loads of stuff for us, not just here but on the website as well. John, who's holding down with Natalie the Man United women's stuff, which I think is so groundbreaking. The content we're doing on this channel with the women team is absolutely groundbreaking, and we can't frigging wait to celebrate a title at the end of the season with the women's team as well. We are buzzing for that. So
21 is coming.
21-1. I think is what it's going to be. 21-1. But yeah, so a massive thank you to everyone. Look, it's been a shit year that has got shitter for many people. I just want to end this show by saying, if anyone ever needs to talk about anything, DM any of our contributors. I speak on behalf of them when I say they'd have a conversation.
Absolutely.
DM All for United.
Absolutely.
And just remember, that 2021 is going to be a better year than this year, we hope, because it's been tough on so many people this year, and it's just been great for us to be able to have this outlet. So a shout out to everyone who's got involved with the channel. Shout out to all the contributors who have continued to make fantastic content and are not shy to put their face in front of a camera and do this. Many people just think they do it for popularity. Many people do it because they want to have conversation with other people. Many do it because they just love our fucking football club. So no matter whether it's win, lose or draw, they're going to come on here and vent. They're going to come on here and be emotional. It's because they love their club. So thank you to everyone for getting involved. Thank you to everyone for putting Merry Christmas in the live chat now. And I do want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. Keep supporting the channel. Keep supporting these guys as well who come on it, because they're all frigging amazing. And I think instead of leaving this on a soppy note, I will leave it with one last thing. Because if I don't, Carthik will kick me up the arse. So are we ready for this, guys?
Thank you,
I'm
Ben.
ready for it. Let me find a brand in. We're going to win the Premier League!